Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Ayleen, and this is Medicine Walk. And today's walk is going to be acknowledging that we're getting ready to close a particular chapter. We're getting ready to close 2016 and start thinking about what it is we want out of 2017. And 2017, by all accounts, is going to be a very interesting year. So think about the things that you want to accomplish. Think about what it is that you want to bring in, what it is you want to achieve, because it's all possible. All you have to do is pretty much decide what it is you want. Sometimes I kind of get the feeling that when people talk about their spiritual paths or their life goals, that it's sort of like going into a restaurant and the waiter comes up and says, "What would you like?" And you go, "Well, food." "Okay, we've got a lot of food. What type of food would you like?" "Well, I'm not sure, but I want food." So the waiter kind of sighs and goes, "Okay, let me give you some time and I'll come back." And the waiter comes back and it's like, "Okay, what would you like?" "Meat." "All right, we're up to meat." "What type of meat?" "Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure meat." And after a few times of going back and forth like that, the waiter finally says, "I really don't think you're quite hungry enough. So why don't you come back when you're hungry, when you know what it is you want?" I kind of view the universe a little bit like that. Now, I use the term creator. I'm going to use the term universe. Whatever it is that you believe, however you hold things, whatever it is that moves you, just insert that there. But for now, we're just going to kind of use the term the universe. And using the term universe is the idea that there is a consciousness that moves us forward. There's a consciousness that kind of has a hand in all of these things. And like I said, whatever you believe, awesome. I love it for you. And so the idea that we may say we want something, I want to be of service. Okay, great. What does that mean? What do you want to do? How do you want that to happen? And if we don't have a specific response, well, then it makes it kind of tough, especially, for manifesting. It makes it kind of tough if you're very vague. Then you get a very vague response. So I called this particular walk being able to light a fire using only 2 sticks. Now, if anybody of you have ever been in scouts or, done any type of training, you've at least once tried to start a fire by rubbing 2 sticks together. And the most significant thing about this is, 1, it's really hard. 2, it's really exhausting. And 3, you don't always get what you want. So when we think about what it is that we would like to manifest, what it is that we want to create in our world, it's sort of like being in the woods. And you need to start a fire because everybody knows that starting a fire is very important when you're out in the woods. So you get your 2 sticks and you start rubbing them together and nothing happens and nothing happens and nothing seems to happen. Well, it's warming up and it's warming up, but it just needs that little bit of extra work and it's hard and it's exhausting. And there are points when you stop and you say, "I can't do this. I'd rather deal with being cold. I don't have the energy." And yet something in you says, "No, keep doing it. Keep doing it. You're almost there." And then you get that tiny little wisp of smoke. And then you get that little spark. And if you do it just right and you handle it just right and you treat it just right, from that tiny spark, you could have a bonfire. And the idea of what it is that you want to do. I mean, you could be out in the woods, and I suppose it's not statistically impossible that you would say, "I need fire," and suddenly a bolt of lightning comes down, strikes a tree, and a branch fully inflamed falls right in front of you, and it's like, "Yay, that was easy. Thank you, universe." It doesn't usually happen that way. And as the saying goes, the only place where success comes before work is the dictionary. We have to work, we have to struggle, we have to do it wrong. And may I emphasize that we have to do it wrong in order to be able to find our way, in order to be able to get it right. And this is about you creating what it is you want. And you can create it to be anything you want. You can be able to say, I want to change my eating habits. I want to exercise more. I want to write a novel. I want to run in a marathon. There's going to be some work there, a lot of work. Maybe you want to start a business. That's a lot of work, I can tell you. And it starts with just like as if you're rubbing two sticks together. It's got to heat up. It's got to warm up. Now, in my mind, one of those sticks is your energy, your commitment, your determination, your dream, your will to see it through and the passion you put behind it. The other stick is universal consciousness. It's whatever you believe is out there that occasionally gives you a hand. And when you take those two and put them together and create friction, now, sometimes it gets tricky. There are times when you see that first little spark come up, yay, let's throw a log on it. And you crush your work and the flame because you tried to move a little too fast. A big part of setting something that is really important to you is being willing to invest the time that it takes. And this can be anything, but you have to focus on it. You have to put energy into it. And it is important to realize that it doesn't matter what your dream is. It doesn't matter what your aspiration is. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it. When you're able to create that, when you're able to give that spark life, and then you feed it little tiny bits, because at first you got to feed into a dream. You got to give it your energy. You have to give it more energy than at that point it can give you. But once you reach that point where it's eating on its own and you're feeding it, and then you can feed it bigger, 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 and then you've got your bonfire. And once you have it, it's like, yay, I've got my fire. I think I'm going to go do something else. It still needs to be tended. It still needs to have energy put into it, but now it's giving you energy that you're giving it. And like I said, this can be absolutely anything. And I received a question, and it's like I can glance over here because that's where the question is that we have, let's see, can we scroll up? Hold on.
Question mark.
Oops. So anyway, this question is from Tammy in Michigan. And hi, Tammy. It's a pleasure to meet you. So happy to have you join us. And you had asked a question about the idea of doing nothing. And is that wrong? Absolutely not. Your dream is your dream. And if your dream is just to spend a year doing absolutely nothing that does not please you, nothing that does not relax you, because there's kind of a trick to doing nothing. There's a trick to being able to go in a place of oneness. I was in a meditation for 3.5 days, and it was up on a mountain with no food, very little water, and day and night sitting there doing literally nothing. And yet I was working some very profound things within myself. Doing nothing externally has nothing to do with what's going on inside. So if what you want to do is, let's say, in wording it a little bit differently, that it's not that you want to do nothing, it's that you want to bring your focus inward. You want to be able to create that space, that eye of the storm that we've talked about, and be able to just be. And it's very powerful to just be, and to not be anything in particular, not do anything in particular. So what outwardly may seem like nothing can inwardly be tremendously profound. And this could be like one of the most exciting years for you by doing nothing. So that's what you put your energy into. You can light a fire under that. You can say, all right, I'm going to set up my life to where I'm going to have those times where nothing's going on, where all I have to do is be myself. And with busy schedules, that can be really hard. That can be really intense to say, no, I'm not going to go and do this for this person or for that person, because believe me, it's like this cosmic bell that rings. If you decide that you want to just do nothing, if you decide you just want to have stillness, try doing it even for like an afternoon. Suddenly, It's like everybody you know will call you up and want to talk to you. And it's like, no, guys, every once in a while I go offline and I don't do my Facebook. I put up a note on Facebook saying, I'm going to be offline for a couple of days. I turn off my cell phone. I check for messages, but I will turn off my cell phone. I will not interact. And that's my time to do nothing. That's my time to just sit within myself. And it is so crucial to have that time. It is so important to have those moments. So if your goal, if your, for lack of a better term, New Year's resolution is to do nothing, you're really doing something. You're doing something for yourself. You're doing something within yourself. And you're going to get a lot out of it. So please let me know how that goes, because I'm very excited for you, because it's a very, very cool thing that you're doing. So back to the campfire. Sometimes we have somebody who is sitting there and they've got their, their marshmallows. They want to get s'mores, and, you tell them about what you're doing. I'm building a fire. And then what they do is it's like, oh, well, okay, well, I'm going to be waiting. When's that fire going to be ready? I've got marshmallows that I want to roast. And as you're doing it, then, they start getting, it's like, well, come on, get this going, get this going. And that takes away from your time. That takes away from your process of going, okay, we're just going to feed it a little bit. And then we feed it a little bit more. Then we feed it a little bit more. And suddenly it's no longer your fire. It's what their expectation of what your fire should be. Your dream is your dream. And it can't be based on what somebody else thinks is the best dream for you. This is your internal stuff. And when you have a chance to decide that, now maybe, you'll be feeding it, and then suddenly, wow, it's starting to rain. I'm going to need to move this. But I want to pick it up gently, and I want to be able to shift. That means that we need to be able to be ready to adapt. Your dream is an amazing thing, and it has the ability to shift, to move, and to grow. I mean, there may be an aspect to the dream that when you first start off, you don't even realize. And as you work with it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, this could do this too. And that's kind of cool. So I'm going to adapt the dream to be able to encompass that cool thing. Because it's your right, because you get to. It's your dream. You can do anything with it you want. And at a time when there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people in fear. There's a lot of people, having a hard time. And sometimes the world can be a very hard place, and it can be a scary place. That's when the light of a dream can not only comfort you, but it can comfort the people around you. And maybe somebody comes up and says, hey, can you show me how you do that? Because I want to be able to light a fire. Now, there's two choices there. You could either say, well, why don't you just enjoy my fire? You don't have to be able to know how to do one yourself. Or you can say, all right, here you go. Take a look at this. This is how. And then we rub the sticks together and all of that. And then they go away and they start their own fire. And you've helped somebody else be warm. It's that old thing about, give someone a fish, you feed them for a day. Teach them how to fish, you feed them for a lifetime. You teach somebody else how to light their fire, and then they can go off. They can help other people light their own fire. Now, the other thing is, maybe you're not so sure and the fire's just not working out, and it's not coming together, and you're rubbing the sticks as hard as you can, but you're not getting it. And you see somebody else who has a nice big fire, and he goes, hey, can you give me a few pointers? Can you help me out with this? And maybe they say, well, why don't you just enjoy my fire? And that's an easy thing. It's easy to fall into somebody else's dream. And if that's what you want to do, that's your right. But I think it's a little bit better to say, you know what, I appreciate it, but I just need a few pointers. And if they won't help you, if they won't allow you to separate and maintain your dream, then go find somebody else's fire, or go back and work on yours and think about it and engineer it and go, you know what, I can figure this out. I'm smart enough. Because that's one of the big things, is to figure that you are talented enough. You are smart enough. You are able enough. You have enough heart. You have enough skill. You have everything that you need Maybe you need a little bit more information to make something happen the way you'd like it to happen, but there is no lack in you. If you are capable of dreaming something, you're capable of making that dream come true. And that's just the bottom line. If you can conceive it, you can do it. And you can put the work into it. And the work is the best part. Often people say, well, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have made as many mistakes. Well, but the only reason you know what you know now is because you made mistakes. It's because you had that learning curve. And dreams often, you try it and it's like, wow, that's not quite working. Let me see what else I can do. Don't give up the dream, just modify the process. And this applies to whatever it is, whether like Tammy, you just want to be able to have that quiet time where you don't place any demands, because the whole idea of New Year's resolutions is, okay, I'm placing this demand and this expectation on myself. And if I don't make it, then here's the judgments I am going to give myself. No, the whole point is to create a dream. The whole point is to find something that makes you happy. And whether it's doing something really big or just saying, you know what, I'd like to grow strawberries in a pot outside my back door. And I would like to be able to have fresh strawberries. So all I need is to plant strawberries in a pot. And that's cool. That's exciting. That is a fairly simple dream, except you have to maintain the strawberries. You have to take care of the plant. And you have to wait for the dream to mature. If you go out and your strawberries are just sprouting and it's like, okay, strawberry time, and you grab it and you yank it out, nothing. Every dream takes time to be able to come forward. And that amount of time is just the time it takes. It's not that you're doing it wrong. And, you can double check. If it's not going the way you want, you can double check. You can go, okay, well, let me check this progress. Let me figure out where I should be at this point, where I would like to be at this point. Because a plan can take a very long time. Even something as simple as growing strawberries in a pot. Okay, well, I need the right kind of soil. Is this the right time of year to plant? You need to get your information set. How much water do I need to give it? Does it need a lot of sun? Does it not need a lot of sun? How can I pay attention and nurture this and put the energy into it until it's ready to give me energy back? And that's at the heart of the dream. You have to be willing to put the energy into it so that you can be able to receive that back. And how long that's going to take, it's kind of as long as it takes. But it's the journey that's important. Because when you look and you see those strawberries blossoming and you think about, wow, when I planted the seeds or I planted the sprout and I sat and I waited and I watched and I took care of it and I talked to it and I played it Beethoven and whatever it is that you did, that whole process becomes a part of you. Everything that you did to bring that dream forward now becomes a tool in your toolkit. Because if you can do that, you can do other stuff. If you can make that dream happen, you can make other dreams happen. And the coolest part is you can help others realize that they can do it too. Dreams aren't only meant for a few people. Dreams aren't just meant for the people who, got college degrees or who, were born at a particular economic level. It's nothing like that. Dreams are what keep us moving. The possibility of something greater happening, the possibility that we can have something that we didn't have before in our lives. And it doesn't matter what. Honestly, it doesn't. And whatever it is that you dream, send it to me. Because what I'll do is I will put a prayer behind it. I will put my thoughts behind it. I will put my intention behind it. And you can say that to anybody else. You can put it out on, if you do Facebook, put it out on Facebook. Say, hey, I have this dream that I want to put into place. And I would just like good thoughts and good intentions and good wishes for me to take this on. And yes, some people may kind of like, well, if you want to do that, you need to do this and that and that. And they start telling you things that you don't need to know. You don't need to muck with. If it's somebody who is telling you that you need to have that dream different, Think about that. Think about whether or not that person needs to be a part of this process. But you can just say, hey, this is something I'd really like to do. And sometimes you get really great suggestions. Sometimes, maybe it's, hey, you're rubbing those two sticks together. Well, if you take a string and you tie the other one so it looks sort of like a bow and you hook it around, then you can move that back and forth and hold on to the other stick. And that'll get it moving faster and you can be more consistent. Well, that's a great idea. Or maybe somebody may say, you know what? There's another way that you can do this, or, try using this type of wood, because then it becomes ways that you can improve what you're doing, ways for you to make your dream happen. Maybe you want a new car, and hey, new cars are fun. Maybe you want to have a new house. Maybe you want a different job. Especially if you want to start a business, and I will tell you this from the heart, that's a lot of work. And that's something that, if you want to ultimately have your own business that is going to be able to support you, that is a multi-year dream most often. That's something that you need to really put a lot of energy into before you get that energy back. But just because there's a delay in the return of the energy doesn't mean it's not worth it. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. You just have to figure out how. So as you consider what it is that you want to bring into your life, as you look at what it is that allows you to go to that next level, to do that thing that you've always wanted to do, but you had all the reasons in the world not to even try, take it on, do it. I mean, the worst that's going to happen is you're not going to do it. That is the absolute worst, which means you will be no worse off than what you started with. But you stand to gain so much more, because even if you don't achieve what it is that is the original goal, like I said, you could discover a dream in the process that you didn't even know you had. And then you can move forward with that. But make sure that it's coming from your heart. Make sure that it's coming from that place within you, because believe me, there are times during the process when you get tired of trying to start that fire. And you get exhausted and you get disheartened and you cry and you just feel like, I am never going to get this. And you look around and you see other people and they've got a fire going and you think, well, they must be smarter than me, or they must be more capable than me. Why them and not me? Well, they had to do their work too. And it doesn't matter what you need to do. Just figure out, all right, what will allow this to happen? What will allow this to move forward? And what will allow me to make that dream come true? So think about it. Think about what it is, any one thing. And it could be a small thing, or it could be a huge thing. Either way, you got to plan it out. Either way, you got to figure, okay, how much energy can I put into this? And if you're going to be able to pick something like, well, I want to get in good shape. What does that mean to you? Figure out, it's like back to the restaurant. Oh, well, I'd like food. Well, there's a lot of food. What would you like? Well, I don't know. So we have the opportunity to really think about what it is you want to do. I mean, we've got a few days, and plus nobody said New Year's resolutions have to be done on New Year's Eve. You got I always figured the whole month of January is like, all right, that's when I'm settling it in. Just pick a dream. Pick what you want. You can do this. You're smart enough. I promise you. Lacking information has nothing to do with how smart you are. In fact, you're smarter to acknowledge that you need more information. That is a very wise thing to do. But just because you don't have the information doesn't mean you can't get the information. And it's going to take work, and it's going to take commitment, and it's going to take, really being in that place of being very honest with yourself. That if you're not getting out of it what you want to get out of it, be real honest. It's like, well, I do want to get in better shape, but I'm only working out like maybe once every couple of weeks. We gotta be real, because if we're not doing the things that we need to do, then what's the point? What's the point? Because it is work. It is hard. Sometimes it can be disheartening. Sometimes it can be frustrating. And sometimes, yes, you want to quit because you don't really see the results. But the thing is that often we don't see the results of rubbing those two sticks together until that little tiny wisp of smoke, which is so easy to even miss, that tiny little indication that something is happening. And something's been happening, but we just don't see it until that moment. And then when you see it, it's very easy to want to jump on it, like throwing a log on just before the first ember gets going. No, that's when you even have to be more patient and take more time and be very gentle and very precise, because you can set a bonfire that you could see from space just from a tiny, tiny, tiny little spark. Part of it's you, part of it is the universe, in whatever way you define it. When those come together, there's nothing we can't do as long as our heart's behind it. You can do this. And whatever it is you choose to do, whatever it is you like to do, like I said, let me know what it is, because I would really love to know. And Tammy, I would love to hear about how you're set up, how you want to do this, because it does sound like a very cool idea. And I've got a lot of family in Detroit, and I know Michigan is very cold. So because the weather outside is probably pretty cold, you have a good reason to stay inside and start kind of working on what it is you want to do. I lived in Detroit for a while, so it's like, oh, brisk. So whatever it is you want to do it. It's okay. Try it. Mess it up. Try again. Because you'll get that warm fire. You'll get that dream to light up. And you'll light up something inside yourself. And by doing that, you will light up something in others, because they will see it and they'll go, wow, I want to do something like that. And that's the first spark of their dream. Let them know that they can do it. Show them that they can do it, and then let them go do it on their own. We can all be lights. We can all be that fire that we set off. All you have to do is dare to do it. All you have to do is believe that you can do it. All you have to do is trust that you're not doing it alone. And you'll get it done. And you'll get your dream, and that dream will open the doorway to 1,000 other dreams. It's good. Yay. And let me know. So, thank you. And I will be back next week. It will be the first show of the new year. And we'll be talking more about what it is that this new year can hold for you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please contact me at medicinewalkwithdrayleen@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter. And please, if you enjoy this, like, subscribe, share, and comment. And you can also go to the site, on the Facebook site, at Medicine Walk with Dr. Ayleen. You can join the group there. And we're looking at maybe doing streaming through Facebook. So we're kind of, figuring that out, because we've got all kinds of cool stuff that is going to be coming up. And I will make sure that you all know what it is that's coming up, so you can share that. So thank you for joining me. I hope 2016 ends gently for you. And I wish you an amazing, phenomenal 2017 that you will have, because all you have to do is dream it. So until next time, I wish you balance, and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you.